Hello and welcome to everyone. This will be a presentation for the Imagine It utilities for Civil 3D and what has been updated in 2026. My name is Lavayen. I work for the Imagine It Technologies. I'm part of the infrastructure team here, and I specialize in the AutoCAD, map, and Civil, pretty much the Autodesk line of infrastructure products. And I've been on the reseller channel for about 19 years now, just really a professional geek, and would like to welcome everyone as we start looking at the tools that we have prepared for everyone. We're really going to be looking at just three tools today. The surface analysis template that allows us to import and export surface analysis, a Stakeout for polylines to automate point creation, and the creating segment labels that will allow us to create labels on multiple lines and arcs. This will be an update session only, focusing on new functionality. We're not going to be covering all the tools that you see here. Because a little bit of background on this, we've started generating these tools back in 2018, and it has grown to be over 20 utilities today. The ribbon actually gets updated every year, and typically it gets new tools or enhancements to tools, about 3 to 5 of them. So again, mentioned here, we're going to be looking at 3 of them, and they've been highlighted in this release of the utilities. It's the surface analysis template here, the Stakeout for polylines, not to be confused with the Stakeout for parcels, and the create segment labels. We do have our complete utility set available on YouTube. So if you want to see earlier releases or earlier versions, you can. The fun part about this tool set, it used to be year specific, and now it actually installs on, well, 2026, 2024, 2025, and it's going to be the same tool set available year after year, where it used to be only the new year got the new tools. Now everyone gets them. So let's talk about the first part here. New to 2026 is the surface analysis template. It's going to be available from the Imagine It tab on the ribbon under the Imagery and Terrain panel. This utility allows users to duplicate surface analysis details from one surface to another. It's not going to be like the AutoCAD match properties. There's an actually import-export option that kicks out a text file. Based upon whichever surface analysis you choose to kick out, it writes out a file, which you're then able to use the Import and Export tab to select the surface that you want to leverage. This could be done in the current drawing to any surface in the current drawing or to any other drawing you may have. Let's take a look at this and see how it works. I'm going to jump over here to Civil 3D and simply open a drawing. I have a very simple drawing over here. I actually created a number of surfaces and did a contour analysis. I did a directional analysis and elevation, a slope arrows, and even user-defined contours available inside of here. All these analyses can be taken from one surface onto another. What I did inside of here, I'm just going to focus on my slope tables, for examples, or elevation tables. What you're able to do here is start up the button over here, Surface Analysis Tools. You're able to select the surface, for example, to export. You select whatever surface you want. I can go here, for example, do elevation. And this is going to be the important part. You need to select which analysis you want to kick out and create as a text file. Now, notice inside of here, a terrain surface can have multiple analyses as part of it. So in basic Civil 3D, a surface can have multiple analyses happening to it. You don't need to display them, but they can be occurring there. So as you get the option to export this, you have to choose what surface you're speaking to and what analysis you want to kick out. The fun part about this, it creates a simple text file over here. If I look at it, for example, the elevation, it actually shows what it's looking at. These are the rows that it creates and the elevation ranges it works with. It's a really simple file that it creates. So if I actually want to put this into play here, would like to show this off, is I have this elevation table inside of here. You can see how surface number 1 over here is a nice pretty analysis. Surface number 2 only has 2 ranges, and these are the tables that match them. So if I take a close look at this, I can go into my analysis template and say, hey, what I'd like to do is to import onto that surface we have over there. You would need to know the names. This is a brand new tool. It's the first iteration of it. So I'm going to be looking at the elevation analysis inside of here, the parenthesis 1. that guy right here. And I would like to choose to import in and read it elevations. Now, it's not going to be a match properties, or on-screen selection. You actually have to kick out a file and load it. And I can go here and say, hey, I would like to load in my elevation analysis. I hit open, and I can go ahead and load it and hit OK. You're going to get a note saying, hey, the analysis was successfully loaded. Or if you get any errors, it didn't work out, you're going to get a note for that as well. As I hit OK, I'm not sure if you saw it. If you blinked, you missed it. Now, this surface over here looks like that surface over there, and the elevation table attached to it also updated. Okay, let's try this again. Let's try this again. Over here, I have a slopes table. I have slopes being analyzed on this side, a nice even design. So if you look at the surface properties over here, I have a nice even design for surface slopes. And I gave it between a certain percentage range and a color scheme. Now I have a secondary surface over here. As an example, I'm choosing to focus on slopes. And I can see the slope table over here is just two ranges, from 0 to 8 and change, and 8 and change to 200. What I can do is have it export out and read it in. Let me show you the full example inside of here. If I do surface analysis, I can choose to export and choose the surface I want to work with. I end up calling this guy 04 slopes. I will choose to read the slopes and save this out. I'm going to call this surface slope demo. So as I create that file, it pushes it out, says, hey, it was exported successfully. So if you want to read it in, great. I would again use the surface analysis template. I will choose to import. The surface that I want to work with is this guy over here. It's the 01. I pretty much copied it on over. I will choose to read the slopes and load from that surface slope demo that I just created. Hit open, hit OK. It says that it worked out. And if you blink, keep an eye on the surface in the background there. If you blink, you miss it. Boom, that surface is exactly the same. And I can see it happening here. I like it, I enjoy it. Now this is gonna work great for other drawings as well. And you can save these text files and share them and put them in some sort of central repository for you guys to work with time after time. But what I'm gonna do inside of here is, if you happen to have a surface range that does not match. So I have surfaces over here for slope ranges. Notice over here it goes from 144 to 184. And if I look at my surface over here, and try to take a look at its properties, the slope ranges are different. This is much higher. So we need to be aware of what range we're working with, because it could be quite possibly that we read in the correct surface elevation ranges, but our surface simply sits outside of that range. Let me show this off here. So if I were to use this surface analysis, and I'm going to choose to import to the surface I have in the background an elevation range, and I can load from my previous drawing. I have some elevation ranges inside of here. Hit open, I choose to read them, hit OK. It says it was successfully imported, and if you blink, you'll miss it because they disappear. You know what happened inside of here is the analysis was brought in, and the analysis that was brought in just happens to be for elevation ranges that don't suit this surface. If I take a look at this, this is going from 144 to 184, yet the surface that I'm working with inside of here, if I look at the elevation ranges, that is just outside of the elevation range that I'm actually working with. So it's not painting anything at all. It's just not showing anything at all because that's outside of the ranges. I'm way above this. So if you were working at the beach and created really color bands and then worked in the mountains and try to bring those color bands, it's gonna work. There's just outside of the elevation range. So again, here, just wanted to show off, if you bring in the correct surface range analysis, let me switch on over to the My Imagine It tab, and I have one that works inside of here. I'm going to choose to import to this terrain, and I'm going to choose to load my big surface. This is one I created previously, so I can have maybe a county range, or maybe, hey, this is when I work on the beaches, or maybe this is within a certain slope surface elevation range that I would want to work with. So I hit open, I can say elevations is what I want to read, hit OK, and if it was applied successfully, I get pretty colors. So it remembers them. This is the fun part about it, that I can move from one drawing to another, from one surface to another, and it doesn't matter what your surface defaults to. Please note inside of here that this surface style, the default for elevation analysis is blues, yet it gave me pretty color ranges because that's what it was saved to. Please note that the default range in this drawing is a blue scheme. So if I go here to surface properties, please note that it's available in here. The import and export doesn't happen from the surface properties. It happens externally in the Imagine It toolset. But if I were to say, hey, I want 6 ranges inside of here, notice how it defaults to a blue color scheme. So I think that's pretty great that if you work with a particular municipality or internally, you're just used to seeing certain color ranges be red, green, blue. You can set them up, save those as text files, and reuse them over and over. I think it's pretty neat what we're able to do here. And I like this new functionality because I've been wanting this since the release of Civil 3D. All right, let's see what else we have available in this year release. It's a short presentation. I only have 3 tools to talk about, but let's jump over here back into Civil. We talked about this surface analysis is new to 2026. Let's see what else we have here. We have the ability of staking out polylines, not to be confused with a tool that was released earlier to stake out parcels, because this tool inside of here reads vertices around a polyline, as in this will not work with lines or arcs as of right now. It will not recognize Civil 3D alignments, parcels, or feature lines. There are other tools for that. It allows for the manual selection of polylines, or the fun part inside of here that I will also show, it can actually read all your polylines on your screen. Now, as I run through this tool set, there is something that I want to note. Every time you run the tool, it will create a point group based upon point group description that you give it. Please note inside of here, I did it for this parcel 115, and it added I did iron pins on 115, and it created a point group that appended PG at the end, and I'll show that off. That's the raw description it asks you. You can only use that raw description once unless you delete the point group. Also, what's noteworthy inside of here is that this tool will work on all polylines in the drawing if you use, and I'll show here the all polylines option, which means even if the layer is frozen or turned off or hidden, it's actually going to look for any polyline in the drawing. And as an additional final note, I would recommend using this tool in a clean drawing, in a drawing that only has polylines that represents parcels, because it is going to find every polyline in your screen. This is the first release of this tool set. I like it, and most definitely could be probably updated and changed in next releases on over, but it's an amazing tool that just allows me to stake out polylines. I know the software allows me to do the creation of points, but this gives me something a little bit different. Let me jump back here into Civil 3D and show this off. So staking out polylines. Now, granted, I do know that I have the option of creating points on lines. That does give me an offer to be able to do that, polyline vertices, but it's very simple. I'm only able to select a handful of objects. It's very static. I like my tool set and what we're able to do here for us. So let me focus on our tool set. If I look at my point groups over here, there's no point groups created. And what I'm able to do is focus on my Imagine It tool set up here. I have the option to stake out polylines. And it gives me the option, hey, what is the raw description that I want to use? I'm going to say, how about I create on parcel 115? Hit enter. It's going to ask me, hey, do you want to select the polyline or do A for all? I'm just going to grab this polyline. Notice how it's coming all the way around. I pick on it, bada boom, it creates those items inside of here. There's my point group. There's my 4 edges. So whatever that was, it creates them for me. Please note in this drawing, I have nothing else created inside of here. There was parcels for civil. It didn't read those. It only read polylines. Now, I do have more elements inside of here, and of course, all of these are polylines. Please note, they are polylines that actually duplicate edges, which would more than likely be what we do for parcels. There's not shared lines inside of here, and I did this on purpose. So let's talk about what we're going to be able to do here next. I'm going to take the stakeout. I'm going to take these points. I'm going to get rid of them for the time being here. Let's select similar, goodbye to those. And let's create a new point group inside of it. Let's create a new stakeout. I'm going to do stakeout again. Raw description, I'm going to say IPs, my iron pins. And I'm going to choose to select all the polylines in my drawing. And this is why I would recommend using this in a clean drawing. I'm going to do A for all and just grab every single one of my lines inside of here. It created a brand new point group for me, and there's the entire list. I did a lowercase IP. Just in this case, it's showing those all over the place here. The fun part about this, there is a left parcel and there's a right parcel inside of here denoted by polylines. Note that there's 2 lines available inside of there. Yet as far as creation, if I take that point and move it out of the way, there's only 1 point that was created there. So the tool was intelligent enough to note that there was a shared vertice there and it didn't double down on points for you. So this is the first iteration of this tool set, and I like it a lot. So we can do stakeout really quickly. I would recommend doing this in a clean drawing, not in a design drawing, to avoid potentially any duplicates or modifications to existing points that was surveyed in, or maybe if you have any design points, I would recommend using this tool in an isolated drawing. It's a great little fun tool here. And again, from the Imagine It, this year, the buttons that were new were kind of highlighted by making them big there, the stakeout for polylines. All right, let's jump back to our presentation over here. So that was it, stakeout for polylines, and let's take a look at the next. Creating segment labels. Granted, Civil 3D has this ability. For us, we added this new tool set. It's available again from the Imagine It tab on the ribbon. It's under the linear feature panel. And what this allows us to do is to select multiple lines and curves at once. This tool set will not work on alignments and parcels or feature lines in this particular release. It's similar to what's out of the box from AutoCAD, but it allows us to do multiple. Let's demonstrate that here. Let's switch on over to Civil, and I'm gonna go here, create segment labels. Now, Civil 3D. Let me talk about Civil 3D first. We do have the ability of creating labels inside of here, and these are polylines. If I were to go here and try to create line and curve labels, I can do single segment or multiple segment. When I do add here, please note I'm only able to select one object at a time. I'm not given the ability of doing crossing windows or selecting multiple lines at once. So if you're creating labels for 200 parcels, this could take some time. Whether you're creating labels or creating tags, whatever that might be, using Civil was just a little bit too much, and I wanted something better, something that I'm able to do more than one linear element. And that's where we came up with our tool set. So I'm gonna take these labels inside of here, and I'm gonna delete what I have on the screen for right now. And let's take a look at the Imagine It tool set. Over here in the Imagine It ribbon, I have the ability of looking at creating segment labels. As I start this up, it's gonna ask me, hey, select the objects you want to label. It's gonna look for polylines. I'm gonna grab all these on the screen here. It gives me the ability of selecting whatever styles I have, whether I have bearing over distance, tags, children's. I am able to select whatever option I want inside of here. If you're good to go, hit OK. Bada boom, it creates labels all over for us. So this came from a need for a client that was doing labeling multiple parcels for a site or subdivision, 100, 200 parcels. That manual process was a little bit too tedious for them. They wanted to do something a lot easier. And this is focusing on the use of perhaps labeling polylines. I'm not sure how many of you guys are using parcels, but polylines is something that we often use under existing or proposed situations. That was that tool set inside of here. So let me return to my PowerPoint presentation here, guys. That was creating segment labels. It's new to 2026. And that's really it, guys. These are the new 3 tool sets that were added this year. The ability to import and export surface analyses, the ability to stake out polylines, and the ability to create multiple segment labels from within your Civil software from the Imagine It tool palette. Now, if you would like to see these tools, you can just simply go to products and utilities from our Imagine It page. If you're a current Civil 3D client, these tools are available for free. If you're not one of our clients, they are available for a trial download. I think it is available for 30 days. And if you talk to one of our sales reps, they'll be able to show you how to purchase these tools. You can go, again, directly from our webpage at imagine.com. At the top there's products, and within there's Imagine It software, and you'll see the utilities for Civil 3D, which takes us to the actual utility page. We're able to download, request pricing for it, and install it on your particular year. And this demo was done in 2026. But if you're running 25, 24, I believe it installs all the way back down to 2020, I believe, is the last year. I can't remember how far back our team is allowing these tools to be installed. But at least I know that's going to be at least current and 3 back, just like Autodesk does as far as support. So if you have any questions, again, a really, really quick presentation for the team here. There was only 3 tools. We'll open it up for questions. Ms. Gladys, you can, if there's any questions in the chat box, or of course you can email us at support@rand.com.